Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Gathering Movement interview series. I am so excited to be here today with Zoe, and we are on complete opposite parts of the world, but I think that's what makes this so special, that we can come together, hang out, and really riff on some very interesting topics. So welcome, Zoe. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Oh, yeah, coming in from Australia right now, so it's only 7:30 in the morning.
Thank you for your commitment to this. So one of the questions I just love to kind of start on is, how does your work in the world really empower others to be the leader of their life?
Okay, that's a really good question. Just start with a heavy-hitting question at 7:30. Okay. The work that I do, so I do coaching, writing, and energy healing. And the energy healing work that I do, I use light language. And if you don't know what light language is, it sounds a lot like gobbledygook, to be honest. But it is language from the cosmos, and there are many of them, much as there are many dialects around the world. And what it does is it bypasses, because it's to your human mind, you're like, what is happening? But at a soul level, your body is understanding, your soul is understanding the messages that are being channeled through me to the universe, from the universe to you. And those messages basically kind of bypass the ego. They bypass the bias that we have with language, and they just allow your body to kind of settle in with the light and the energy that comes through. And the way that I use the light language is really to help shift limiting blocks and beliefs that kind of get in the way of you being able to step into your power, to do your mission, whatever it is. I tend to work with a lot of people who are in the Ascension process, and they are ready to do that next thing. They kind of know what it is, but they've had something holding them back from kind of just that motivation. And so I use the light language sessions that I've got 4 modalities at the moment. I'm working on a new one. I use those to help steer, help motivate, help clear out some old negative charges, maybe old patterns, old beliefs, anything that's kind of holding people really back. That's what I use the light language for. And it's really been so amazing, because the results, it's people quitting their jobs, it's people, doing the thing, starting that business, or being like, okay, I'm going to go do this right after. And the way that the light language works, the way that I use it, is that it generally tends to settle in and stick. And so it tends to be that it's like, I'm not the person that's like, I'm not going to do a session and suddenly someone's like going to go do something new, but it's that thing you're moving towards, and it just really helps people kind of get out of their own way, get their ego out of the way.
So important on any journey in life, and especially when you're working with people who are ready to kind of take it to the next level, and all the blocks, all the who are you to do this start to jump in, which I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, well, I experienced it myself, obviously, as well. So, it's part of a human journey, is to have all those doubts. It's just that, can you use a biohack to get around them? Yes. And there's a pretty amazing set of tools out there for people who, like me, who are fortunate enough to have the ability to do this and to channel this. Is so rewarding. It's rewarding for the person that's having the session, but it's so rewarding for me to be able to sort of, to see people really make those shifts and do something. And it doesn't make any sense, like from our human minds, when it first started, it was just, well, this is weird, but I'm just going to roll with it.
Now, how does someone find themselves channeling light language? Where's the origin of this for you?
Yeah, no idea. No, I had it's been about 4 years that I was, things were sort of happening, weird kind of non-coincidence, like too obscure to be coincidence type thing. And, since about 2011, I'd sort of been practicing law of attraction and that type of thing, sort of starting to baby steps on being awake. About 4 years ago, it's sort of accelerated a bit. And I kept meeting all these people, be like, you can heal with your hands. And I'd be like, what does that mean? And I just kind of instinctively knew it wasn't Reiki. And so I quit my full-time job. I was living in Santa Monica with a VP job and a nice oceanfront apartment. And I was just like, I feel trapped. I've got all these on paper, this looks amazing, but I feel trapped. So I took off, and I've been a nomadic since, so 3.5 years. I've just been traveling around the world, been pet sitting as I go. And also I feel like I've been kind of I called it like I'm in a video game, and I got like a backpack, and I just keep going to these different places, and I put another gold coin in my backpack, and it kind of has filled up, like to the point where I'm like, ding, 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 next level. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm going to, now I'm kind of leaning into more what I can do. And so at first, it was just kind of like, if you hear it enough times, you start being like, can I heal with my hands? And then it was April last year, I was in Portland, and I just was kind of randomly like, do you want to go to a friend? I was like, do you want to go to this sound healing tonight? And I'd been kind of having this like kind of spinning thing happen in sound healings, but this one was crazy because the spinning happened and I felt like I merged with the universe. It was like this completely blissful. I felt like parts of me were going off, and it was this kind of whirling in with the universe. And then that was just the gong, and then the crystal bowl started, and my hands were like, and I was like, okay, what is this? Like all over my body, but particular parts of my body this was going through. And I just knew that it was light language, and I knew that it was altering my DNA. And so I was kind of just allow that to happen. And then I knew that obviously most people just speak light language. It's not necessarily just through the hands. And so I just kind of allowed that to be a thought as well. And maybe about 2 months later, I was riding a bicycle, and I feel like light language always comes through at a time when you're really not focused. So people driving, bicycle, shower, and on a plane, someone I know as well. So it came through as I was riding the bike, and I was kind of like, okay. And then kind of like little things would happen. I got a sense of what I could do, but it was still baby steps. But to be honest, COVID for me was the greatest gift this year because I know obviously it's been tragic for a lot of people, but I've been able to find my silver lining because obviously absolutely everything was ripped away from me. The opportunity to travel as a nomad obviously is paramount to how you're going to live your life. So I had no base, nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. And then so I kind of ended up in a friend's empty an Airbnb in New Zealand. And then no distractions for travel planning because that takes up a lot of time. No forward thinking because you didn't know what you could plan for. And then just kind of I realized I was grieving during COVID. There was a lot of grief for lots of a lost life. And I could also feel everybody's confusion, everybody's anger. It was just, it was a really tough time. And I was just like, okay, one, I acknowledged that and allowed that to happen, which was really crucial point in switching on some self-love. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to experiment with this light language thing. And then I started kind of like getting through kind of like with Kundalini because, we're both in the same Kundalini community, but with Kundalini for part inspiration to create space within the body. And then kind of like, I guess, channeled. It's kind of like a little ping that goes off. It's like kind of this with this, with this, with this makes this. And it's been described to me as that once it's kind of complete, then it's sacred geometry. So really just that space to not run, with COVID, allow me to kind of go in and be like, okay, what is this?
I think it's so beautiful that we can find this silver lining this year, especially. And I know for many of us, this was a major awakening portal. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're really here to help those individuals. You had the experience for yourself, but you're here to help those individuals ascend, and you simply give them the tools or the healing or the freedom from the blocks and the limiting beliefs to allow them to move to this next level of their existence and incarnation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, I think always the good thing, when you're coaching, when you're healing, whatever, you've been through the same kind of, you've been through those blocks, you've had to push through, what it's like to be brave. And so I think that really helps, as well as understanding that, I've many times had to sort of stand on the edge of the cliff and take a step off and trust. And then being able to kind of like instill that through energy, through sound, to instill that into someone's body, not just into their mind, because obviously we know we can get out of that one quite easily and talk ourselves out of a lot of things, but it's really rewarding.
One thing that I love to talk about and really do in my own coaching, and I really entered this world through the spiritual realm of let me help unlock your potential, soul's purpose. But what I found is that we really need to almost break these terms down into like our 3D, more tangible reality. So I would love for you to share some like very simple examples of how you actually help people, or some of the stories, because I think sometimes it can feel so ethereal in the ways that we help people, but really it's very, very grounded. So I'd love for you to share any of your own insight on that as well.
You mean specifically with the light language, or with coaching, or with the light language? Well, a session, it's very hard because it is still kind of out there. It's not exactly the most kind of basic, but during a session, so sessions are normally 1 hour, and during a session, I will start with normally some Kundalini breath work to kind of activate the channel, activate a clear channel to the universe, and allow me to kind of get in. And then also I use mantra and mudra as a way to create space within the body. So it's really amazing what you can do with mantra and humming or chanting at a vibrational level. It's basically shaking up every cell in the body. And then when the light language, most people have experienced Reiki maybe, and the energy comes in, but then kind of 2 days later it feels like it's gone. But with my light language, by creating that space first, I'm able to, the light can go in and then kind of poof, it can kind of expand in there. And that expansion is really important, I think, for why this works and why it sticks, why it kind of stays around. It tends to be that it's pretty good, solid shift. And so you start with that. And then at some point once we've kind of got the body in the right place and doing the right thing, then the light language will come through. It's kind of structured in terms of where it is within the process, within the hour. But then once that comes through, then tends to be that people kind of then receiving. And I sometimes use tricks a little bit, particularly as I have one that's called Limitless. And the Limitless light language is really good as a first one because it creates the space. It creates a lot of energy. People feel amazing afterwards. Like I had 2 sessions this week where people were like, I feel high, and so it's like, and that was the next day, they're still feeling it, or 3 days later, they're still feeling it. So creating the light to go in and create that expansion there through that. And then I have kind of tricks as well with people. Sometimes people are like, yes, I want this session. But actually, when you get there, there's some part of them that's like, no. And for me, if my ego has space to talk, then I know that they're not fully connected. And so I've got some tricks on getting them back, getting them really into place and getting them really interconnected. And generally those tricks always work to allow then for the soul to really kind of allow this free flow of energy. And then people may experience light language in many different ways. So it depends on how you are, right? I'm clairsentient, so I tend to feel things. I don't get visions. Some people may just have a feeling. Some people may see light, color. Some people see symbols. One session I did this week, the girl actually understood word for word everything I was saying. This is completely foreign. This is someone, that I've known for 18 years, and she's there able to completely hear everything I'm saying. She knew exactly what was being told of her, and it was very moving for her. And then we kind of wrap it up with a little bit there, and then we'll have a chance at the end to talk about, what's happened. I speak more than one light language, so it depends on what the session is, what comes through. On some of them, like the Limitless one, I also get information. So I kind of have a little piece of paper with kind of a big stick figure on it and a bunch of crystals, and I just place the crystals where on the body I feel that there's something that needs to be communicated. And I kind of regard it that I'm allowed to communicate those things, because your ego doesn't need to hear anything. Your soul's getting the message. But sometimes it is helpful to kind of get your egoic or your inner child on board to kind of support, support what's coming through. And so there might be there's the things that I intuitively sense around where the blocks are, or the thing that they need to be doing, whether they're supposed to be working with a big community, or whether they need to work on blocks around the heart chakra, or anything that comes through. Like if I've maybe I channel light codes as well. And so sometimes it'll be the gift of light codes that'll come through a certain part of the body, maybe the throat or the third eye. And it's just kind of really allowing that its space. And then just kind of communicating. Well, what I feel is that whatever I'm told is I'm allowed to communicate. Whatever I kind of get a sense of is fine for me to share. And then the rest is for the soul to kind of integrate over a few days. And it does take 2 or 3 days. I have one, it's a 2021 voice activation. So it's specifically channeled for this new energy that we're now in since December 21st. And it's to really help people have their voice, be heard, be understood, and also to collaborate more for 2021. So super exciting. And that one is a very interesting light language that comes through. It's very hard for me to actually physically, it's not made for a human tongue, that's for sure. But that one's, takes integration is maybe 3, 4, 5 days.
I'm fascinated right now. And in my experience and my knowledge, I didn't realize there was more than one light language. So can you explain? I'm like, ooh, so excited.
Yeah. Well, much as there's many languages in the human race, there's many languages out there. So, it's channeled from the cosmos. I work with, I actually don't know my full team, but I work with a large team, and part of those are Arcturians, so it's 9th dimension, so very high vibration. So some people will be like, I saw a purple light, and I'll be like, brilliant, that's the Arcturians coming through. And then there's some, I work with a girl in Germany who's really good at kind of like giving you a big high-level galactic reading, and she's like, oh, some of the in my crew are from a space so far away that it's that you can't measure it by light and sound. I was like, okay, cool. So I don't know where some of them from, but there's lots of people they're channeling, maybe Arcturian, Lemurian, they're channeling Palladians. There's lots of different languages, and there's lots of different dialects. And because I think I'm not getting kind of clear messages. Mine's all unknowing. I just have to trust a lot. So it's been a really big trust process, because I actually don't know where they're from. I just know that they're here for everybody's highest good, that it's a collaborative that I work with that supports me in my mission, which is to help people wake up, help people clear their shadows, and to then, kind of to go on. Because I don't know if you feel this, but since December 21st, the energy for collaboration is so amazing right now, and it just feels like there's going to be so many ways that we're working together this year. And so if I can help you be better at whatever it is you're doing, then we're only gonna come together stronger when we do. So it's really exciting.
I couldn't agree more. It's so funny. I was on an Aquarian Women's Leadership Society call today, and we were stepping in, or just really getting in the energy of holding our big vision. And the very, very clear things that have come through for a while, but it's there, is collaboration, networking, and community. Those are the 3 things that were written down. So it's funny that, it's not even funny, this is what we're talking about, because we are all feeling this as a collective right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. On the 21st, I had this very interesting morning where I was in complete duality, and I was just like, I felt like I was running 2 streams, and then it felt like at some point you were shifting to which one, you were choosing. Did you want to be, because there were some minor COVID cases here, and I have had, 9 months of not really having to worry about COVID in New Zealand. So I started feeling anxious, but then I was like, oh, this isn't even mine. This is everybody else's. But I was kind of like anxious and then super happy at the same time, kind of like running these 2 streams. And then there was this kind of merge of, okay, which one do you want to pick? And so obviously it's pick the good one. But I've noticed since then, any sessions that I'm doing since then, that's coming up, this kind of need to cross over and reunify masculine and feminine. It's not a merge, because there's always going to be duality in the universe. Is always going to be the polar, you're always going to have the light and the dark, and both are perfectly fine. But it's just that how do we now kind of like meld them together a little better, so that there's more unity within yourself, so that there's more unity when you get to community. So that's the new session that I'm working on right now, just kind of really tuning into what's coming through, and then how can I support that? How can I support that integration?
I love this, and we could probably have an entire other episode about these different timelines and these different time streams that we can really choose to jump on, because you have the awareness that both are happening simultaneously, and you can like literally see them, you can feel it in your body, but we have the ability to choose. And I think that's really what your work comes back to, and it's what my work comes back to also. It's us being the leader of our own lives and making the choices for ourselves. And I'm curious, with light language, is this something that everyone can channel, or is this something that you need to find a teacher or find a channel? How does that work?
I will say, if you're listening to this stream, you can channel for sure. There's going to be a lot of people 2021 who maybe get a sense. So I think if you feel like, there's just a little something there, then for sure. There's obviously, you can work with people like me to help unlock those gifts, but you can also just go, you can just wing it as well. I think that one of the important ways to do that is to give yourself permission first. So it might be that it takes a few months, but you just like, if right now you're listening to this and know that you're listening to this because you can speak light language, then you then go, okay, I give myself permission to believe I can speak light language, and you let that just sit for as long as you want. And then later, when you start feeling like, well, maybe I want to practice with that a little bit, you just, again, you give yourself permission to practice. And in the beginning, it was hard to kind of like switch it on. And I found that if you were just like, pretend you were a 2-year-old and talk in that kind of toddler tweak, that kind of sound, and start there and then see where it goes, and then don't judge it, and you just kind of let it come through. What I spoke in the beginning is nothing like what that just doesn't exist for me anymore. So I don't know if that was like a baby language or whatever, but it's just kind of like whatever it is that's just going to come through that sounds like it's, or you feel that it's got some meaning to it, and just trust that that's light language and let that come through. And if it wants to come through your hands, some people will write light language. I know that some people may be just kind of doodling something and then this language kind of comes out. I think it's just give yourself permission to believe it. Leave it for a little bit, see where that sits, and then just give yourself permission to experiment with it. I think, there's a lot of people this year, because I think the estimate was something around 2 billion people waking up in 2020. So of those 2 billion people, it's a lot of people who are now going to be working on raising community consciousness, unity consciousness. And so we don't all have to be speaking light language, but it is a way to bypass, for yourself as well. You can just work on yourself, but it's also bypass on a lot of the kind of human conditions that we have to kind of navigate through at the same time. And particularly as there's going to be these two parallel lines running, there's the chaos that's coming, but there's also the ascension and the continued ascension and the continued raising of the consciousness. And it's just kind of, again, it's just a tool to help you stay in the right lane.
I love that. It was probably around maybe April of this year. We had just finished a meditation, and I grabbed my phone and I just started speaking, and it was just sound.
Yeah.
And different sounds, because the message I got was, you need to use your voice, Bridget. You need to use your voice, Bridget, and you need to help activate the voices who aren't quite ready yet, but they feel like they are. And it was very profound, because the part of me that was just like talking in these sounds, and then a little bit of ego comes in after and goes, what the hell did you just say? So I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant about no judgment, is because like in the beginning, in the beginning it was really tough, because you're just kind of like, okay, this sounds like it could be something, and I've been told I can, I kind of know I can speak this. I trust that I can heal. I've heard it so many times. So, okay, what do we want to do with it? And then it was just a matter of them practicing with safe people, So my coaching community is where I went to for, like safe people within the group that I could be like, okay. And it would be people that are really tuned in, one is a medium, and it'll be, okay, she sees, she's got every clair switched on. So she can see that there's tons of being, it's very helpful to get information from people who can kind of support what you're saying. And so in the beginning, it was really blind for me. I'd just be like, I'll throw it out there and see what sticks, and then I just wait for the feedback to come through. But I have to say, from an ego point of view, mate, the feedback is kind of addictive, because you're just like, whoa, you felt that? Even now, I'm still like, and how was that for you? And I'm just like, really like, this is so cool. It's like a really strange sci-fi movie, but I'll roll with it. I'm in it. But yeah, I think it's just practicing with people that you trust, people that make you feel like, okay, I can do this, and there's no judgment, and everyone's just curious to see what happens, and if it's nothing, that's also okay, you know.
Coming back to the reminder of community and finding those safe communities to be in.
Yeah.
Like that's what you've created as well.
Yeah, and I'm actually about to start a Facebook group. It's called it will be called the Healers Collab. I'm actually, it's on my to-do list for today. And the Healers, so if anyone's watching now, I'll put a link later, but the Healers Collab, and it's going to be for people that are waking up or just starting out, and they maybe want to do tarot reading, or they want to do Reiki, or they want to do light language, or they want to do whatever it is that they want to do for their community, that there'll be a safe space to practice, a safe space to come in and just, try with safe people, because I think that's really, is not everyone's got a group that they can go into. And because a lot of us have perhaps felt like we were on the outside a lot, or we didn't fit in for whatever reason, maybe you don't have those people that can understand this. At the beginning of, around April, May time, I found myself saying a lot, I'm going to sound crazy, but, and I had to kind of ban myself from saying that, because it didn't support what I was doing. It's, it kind of supported this, your different narrative that had, been running for a long time. I was like, no, I'm just going to do this. People either resonate or they won't. If they think I'm crazy and I lose friends, then that's fine. They weren't my friend anyway. So I think it's, but what was, not everyone's got is access to someone or some people to practice on. And so that's what I want to create. And that's really come out through this energy, this past week, this energy to like tap into this collaboration. And I've always classed myself as a community connector as a way. And then so I'm really wanting it to be kind of a safe space to practice, and probably monthly free events, so that, outside people can come in and you can do a session live and you would get real feedback, and just kind of a place for people to process what's coming in and really experiment and give it a go, and not be afraid. Or be afraid, but do it anyway.
True. And be in a community of supportive people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Would you love to share with our community a little bit of light language, or just a little taste of what this is for anyone ready to receive?
Yes, I would. So I would say don't be afraid of it. Just kind of know that this, sorry about hearing my mouth, that this is coming through for your highest good, and highest and best good. And so what I would like first is, I'm just going to get us to just do 1 minute of breath of fire, just to create that space, that channel, that clear out, and just to kind of invite, while you're doing this, invite your higher self to kind of take a seat. So if you want to close your eyes, and we're just going to be doing an equal inhale and exhale through the nose. And you just have your hands resting lightly on the lap, and just kind of focus your attention at the third eye. And we'll just begin with the equal inhale and exhale at your own pace. It doesn't need to be fast, but it does need to be equal. Any negative thoughts, let them go with the exhale. Take a deep inhale, hold the breath. While you're holding, just to kind of think to yourself, I allow any light language to come into my body for my highest good. And exhale. And keeping the eyes closed, I'm just going to now do a short amount of light language. Kino mo kita kanya na to kore kina kita kamu ko kina ta kana izo kore kina gani yara ta kako mo yara ta kina yara po koko yana da ta kito koko yana ta kamo yara ta kina yara to ko mo yara ta aki no ro ko mo yara ta kina ka to koko kina yara ta kina yana ta koko por kina yara ta ka po yana ta ka to ko yana ta kina na ta koko kina to ko yana na mo ko por kiti no mo yana ta kina yana to koko yana por kina yara ta kai por kukina tarata moi por kita kina yara to kuku yana yara taka por kina yara to ko yana takere kina yara to ko yana ta por kina yara to ko yana por kina yara to ko mira takitiki na to ko yana taka mo yara takete yana na to poki por kina yara taka ayana to ko yana to kina takia por kita kare kamo kuko mira ta yana to ko retite kana yara to kamo kuko yana taka mo yana Yana tataka na moira to kataki yana yara taki kamu yara to ko yana porque ina yara taka moira na buya na tataka ko yana to ko yana mati na ra to ko yana to ra ko yana taka kare moira taka yana nera to ko ki porque taki ni yara taka mo ataka taka ay yana tataka ingi mo yana taka kare mo Chikia yana taka mo yana taki kare mo kita kare na yara to ko mo yana taka ketika na ma kaganya na ta poquito karakanya na ta kokoko yana mare ta karakana porque naira ta ka yana mo kokoko yana ta kito koko yana na porque naira to koko yana ta kamo ataki na ta kana mo yana porque nira ta ka mo popo kena yana yana da taki na yara ta kamo koko kena yana porque te yana ta koko kena yana yana ta kena mo koko kena yana Take a deep inhale, hold the breath. Hold the breath as long as you can and think to yourself, I allow, I allow, I allow. Allow the light language to come into the body, even if you don't understand it, even if it didn't make any sense to you. Allow the light to come in, to expand, to shift. And when you can no longer hold your breath, you're going to exhale and release and relax.
That was so beautiful. In my vision is these little diamonds, and they were like turning as an activation. And the soul was like, you know, the language that they're speaking, you're gathering like with everyone right now. So
yeah, it was when the language first came through, it was very much like, oh, you guys are all together. And it was kind of like really excited to see, like whoever's tuned in right now or will be tuning in, there was very much a sense of like, oh my God, you guys, you know. So I think, you know, just that collaboration piece is, you know, is very active, even with, you know, with the group that you have right now. So just kind of know that you guys are meant to be together, meant to be working together. And there was also a sense of to remember to tune into the sacral energy that everybody has within the group, and to kind of like, there was a small activation there, but really just to kind of to tap into that, remember that part of your body, remember that part of your channel. So that doesn't have to be sexual energy, that's creative energy as well. So it's kind of whichever of those resonates. And then throat chakra and third eye were two big ones as well. So with the throat chakra, it was just kind of just clearing out some energy there and adding some codes in to activate, you know, further expansion for your voice, and then to further connect everybody again through the third eye. So yeah, it's cool.
Casual morning stuff.
Exactly. But it just turned 8 o'clock.
Oh, that was amazing. How can people connect with you? How can they join this group? Share everything that you have with the community.
Well, I'm a slacker when it comes to building a website. It seems I started and haven't finished that. So no website yet, but everything will be Zoe Mac Energy. So Z-O-E, sorry, should be your audience. MACENERGY. But the best place to contact with me right now is Instagram. And then obviously you can message me. If you're not on Instagram, then shall I put my email address maybe in the YouTube link or something, video. But sure, it's Zoe Macfarlane, MAC, NZ@gmail.com. So there, and then the Healers Collab, honestly, just either email me or actually in the YouTube or in the videos, I'll put a link in there once that's live. So maybe they'll just give me the impetus to do it today. It's a rainy day here, so it's supposed to be summer, and it's like no. So it's a good day to do some of the to-do list.
Perfect. Well, I'll add all of that to the space as well. And I just want to read these 2 comments for you. I don't know if you can see them, Zoe, but Kimberly, your friend, says, Zoe is amazing. I allow. I feel the shift. So beautiful.
Kimberly's been doing some great work with me. So she's seeing some huge shifts, which she's amazing to work with.
She's amazing. Our interview last week was so fun. So we love you, Kimberly. And Abigail says, thank you. I love light language. I saw a vision of me in a big room filled with people. I'm walking around the room speaking light language to them, activating them. It was really awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's very exciting. It gives me goosebumps. So thank you, Abigail, for the comment, taking the time for the comments as well. As I say, like for me, the feedbacks is a little bit addictive, but I'm going to go with out of all the addictions, it's way better than the old sugar one I used to have. Thanks, Kundalini, for getting rid of that one. So I'll just go with this one's a good replacement.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Zoe. This was just a pleasure to spend my afternoon with you and just to have you here. I'm so grateful that we've connected.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and it was really nice. Thanks for the great questions that made that easy as well.
I love questions.
I've just activated it.
I love it. And this is my little public service announcement for anyone listening. My 2021 mission for the Gathering Movement is to really make this bigger. I want to interview at least 100 pioneers, way showers, thought leaders across the world who are really here to bring the empowerment and the power back to the people. So if you guys know anyone, we're going to tag them below, we're going to connect, and we're going to really create this global movement of coming back together and really uniting on these ancient practices that bring us back to ourselves. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Zoe, for being here.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.